there's no doubt that the mental and the personal feeling I have about what Tony Romo and Jason Witten brought to Cowboys during their career, I don't think I've had a moment in the day that at some time I don't reflect back on those good years and what they contributed. I've said this. From my standpoint, I can't help but say, boy, I really dropped the ball from my standpoint, not doing enough to get them in a Super Bowl. That will be and is my biggest regret about my time with the Cowboys.
Did you know that Tony Romo has been eligible for the NFL Hall of Fame since 2022, but yet we are here in 2025 and officially 9 days away. That's right. We are on single digits away, and there's a lot of stuff happening today. We got a lot of news breaking. We got a lot of Tony Romo stuff to talk about here today too as well. But it's your boy B Jizzle and my guy Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy.
That's good.
Back with the green screen. I see you with the green screen. Look over there. Got the Tony Romo Dez look going on.
Yeah, Kels mentioned something about it on one of the shows we just did, and I was like, why the hell don't I have that? I think because I want my masks and all my books and stuff in the background most of the time. But you know what? I decided as sort of an olive branch to Tony Romo, whom I did not have a great relationship with at the beginning of his career. It was me saying, you know what? I'll throw some Tony Romo love on the back right real quick and let everybody see how much I can rep him, because God knows I gave him a shit for a good season.
Yeah, and I know I do talk a little crap about Tony Romo. I have told you I don't believe he's going to get into the Hall of Fame, but we are 9 days away. And I want to have this discussion because we've got some other Cowboys that are also eligible for the Hall of Fame. That, there's a long list of Cowboys actually that should be in the Hall of Fame. But a lot of people say Tony Romo should be in the Hall of Fame. So if that's you, we want to hear from you. Tap in today. We're 9 days away, as Tony Romo's quote says it right there best. As a competitor and an athlete, you love that you get to go back and challenge someone, especially the world champs. That's right. I was just telling Bob in the green screen or the green room back there that, if the Cowboys, we fuck around and win Thursday Night Football against the champs, well, we're going to the Super Bowl, baby. It's our year. It just kind of makes sense, right, Bob?
Yeah, you got to be the best. You got to beat the best. And according to last year, they were the best. So, that's how that goes. Pretty much.
So you're just joining us. Do us a favor. Leave us a comment. Let us know down there below. You're tapping in. Happy Taco Tuesday. We're 9 days away. A lot of news been breaking, Bob. Let's go ahead. Let's jump into some news really quick. Some cuts already coming in for the day.
No.
We've already got some cuts coming in for the day on cut day today. And guess what? Everybody wanted it and everybody got it. Deuce got the deuce.
Here's a situation. I'll break it down plainly too. We did a great job drafting him. Obviously, his pops was a coach, right? So, it was a cool thing that we did. His statistics and his tape from school was absolutely insane. There is no question about it. But then we got Jaden Blue this year, and if you look at his tape, it's pretty much exactly the same as Deuce, except I think Jaden had a better one juke. He was better at making that first person miss than Deuce was, and Deuce was already ridiculously good at it. So I think they just said to themselves, listen, we got ourselves a younger Deuce, a maybe more capable Deuce, and he's a Longhorn, right? So I think there's a lot of things that kind of pushed that decision to go where it needed to go. But Deuce wasn't exactly what we needed to be. To me, he was too small, and he was getting knocked back quite a bit.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones. And then also we heard about wide receiver Trayshawn Holden, undrafted free agent out of University of Oregon. I thought it was a no-brainer because, we got our Junior Adams, our wide receiver coach, who just came from Oregon. I thought maybe that connection might be there, but now Trayshawn Holden has been waived, and now Jonathan Mingo has been hurt. Trayshawn Holden is gone. So it's like, now who's going to be wide receiver 3? Because this is currently the real-time scenario in Frisco.
If we're talking about, it's hard to believe Flournoy can Flournoy, however you want to say his name, can beat out those two guys at that position. I just don't see it happening, man.
Leonardo Deuce has been shot. The Deuce, that's right. Deuce Vaughn has been waived by the Cowboys as this running back room thins down. The wide receiver room is thinning down. Hell, we're trading. Awesome Richards already traded to New Orleans for a 2028 pick. I mean, there's a lot of news breaking in here quick, but we're on this Tony Romo. Make sure you tune in back at 3 p.m. because my girl Kales with the Intels will be live with me. We're going to break down the 53-man roster because by 1 p.m. here today in about an hour, the rosters from all 32 teams are due to the headquarters, and then we're waiting for the Dallas Cowboy website to update so we can go over that 53-man roster with you. So tune back in at 3 p.m. today. We're talking about Tony Romo. Yeah, I'm just like, man, Tony Romo he's been eligible for the Hall of Fame since 2022. I don't think a lot of people realize that, Bob.
Yeah, it's tough to put him in that conversation, if I'm being honest. Even as someone who found a way to really appreciate what that guy was all about, which is grit and heart, and he's actually a real throwback player. I don't know that he's going to be considered by anybody to be in the Hall for any reason. I mean, obviously he's got records and stuff like that, but Jerry's right, and Jerry's right about every single quarterback that came in after Troy Aikman. That same exact statement. I really did a disservice to my team by not getting those guys a Super Bowl. You did that for like almost 30 years, dude. You know what I mean? Like every quarterback has been done a disservice because of Jerry's dealings in some way, shape, or form. And I hate to put it on him, but, a lot of it is on him, man. When you're the owner, you got to take it. If you're the quarterback, you got to take the loss.
Well, I mean, unless you're the Lion, you're going to have to take it too as well, because I know if you've seen that intro video where Jerry Jones, that was at the Hall of Fame a couple years ago, I believe, when he talked about not getting Jason Witten and Tony Romo a Super Bowl was his biggest regret. But I believe if we don't get this Micah Parsons situation taken care of, week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles, the champs on banner night is going to be a problem. And that might be his biggest regret. So maybe Jerry getting ready to trump his biggest regret with Jason Witten and Tony Romo. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy, man.
I know you were telling me you felt some kind of way about this whole thing in the green room about this Micah Parsons, about Jerry kicking the can down the road, waiting until the last minute, getting one of our key players back into the lineup.
Yeah, and I know I don't want to jump too far off of Romo here in this situation, but if you think about, there's a parallel here because, first of all, I don't know how Jerry's getting away with talking to players without their agents, but we just saw, if anybody has watched, or actually, I don't even want to say anything. If anybody knows about the original contract they were going to give Tony, it was Bill Parcells and Jerry sitting him down in a room with 2 chairs right in front of him, and they are 1 inch away trying to basically strong arm him into signing the deal that they had on the table. And Tony had to say, you know what? I don't know if that's really what I want. I want to do this, this, and this. And then they went and drew the numbers up and got it right. It's the same shit right now. It's Jerry pulling Micah aside, trying to say, hey, let's get this deal done. Screw your agent. He's going to tell you all this, this, and this, but this is really what you want, right? And then sending it over to the agent, and the agent going, I had nothing to do with this. It's my job to do this. No, thank you. We're going to come up with another one.
Let's just remind the people of how it actually went down, Bob. Let's watch it from the horse's mouth himself.
Yeah. Before the game, you go out and you warm up for an hour, and I come in, and all of a sudden, one of the coaches says, hey, Coach Parcells wants to see you in the coach's office. And so I'm like, okay, that's different.
Bill and I got him in a little old room, like a closet almost.
And Jerry's like, Tony, come on, sit down right here. And Bill's sitting there with a little bit of a scowl on his face. Put this chair in. Right when I'm about to sit down, they kind of pull the chair in. So now it's like all 3 of our knees are touching right next to each other.
And I had both my feet kind of on his toes, and Bill was sitting there almost a half an inch from his ear.
It's about the most intimidated I've ever been in any sort of a setting in your life.
So we were squeezing him a little bit to sign the deal.
Bill says, I can't play today. I can't play today. I mean, we're not gonna showcase you for the rest of the league. You out there, you play well, and you're a free agent this year, and you're gonna go play somewhere else. I'm not gonna let you play today unless you're gonna sign this contract that we offered you.
He was so composed. He was so good. And he looked me in the eye and he said, I'm going to get to play when you've got an investment in me. The one you've proposed doesn't really make the kind of investment in me that I think will get on the field. I need to get on the field.
And so Jerry looks over at Bill and they look at each other and they're like, okay, I think we're going to do the contract that you want. And I was like, okay.
I shook his hand and said, that's done. He walked out of that door, And Bill jumps up and grabs me and said, "We've got us a quarterback." Said, "Man, did you see that composure under this kind of pressure?"
Composure under this kind of pressure. I got a question, Bob. That was Jerry, that was Tony, and that was Parcells. Where was Tony Romo's agent?
You know, and again, we have that on record, and we have what's going on with Micah on record. It seems honestly like Jerry loves telling on himself and basically daring the rest of the league to be like, "What are y'all gonna do? I'm doing what the fuck I want to do." And if that's the case, then fine, that's great. But the problem with that is he doesn't get the deals done early, and almost always we let the market get set 3 or 4 times before our particular player has to get signed. And we could have gotten CD, we could have gotten Dak, we could have gotten Micah for much cheaper than we wound up paying them, and might wind up paying Micah. But Jerry likes playing this game of keeping our name in the light, and as it's really, really tough as a fan to have to wade through that and just keep your eye on football, because all this other shit, if you think about it, does not matter to us. We can't control anything anyway. So we have to only watch what's on the field, and right now Micah's not.
It seems a lot like it looked like a duck, it walked like a duck, it talked like a duck, it might be a duck, but Leonardo's tapping in. He says, can I ask a super good question? What happened to players like Tom Brady? He didn't worry about getting his millions till he got his team their rings. No one is team friendly, and greed gets them.
Listen, real quick, I got an answer for that, and we don't need to discuss that any further. Not everybody has Gisele Bündchen as a wife, who is a multi-million-dollar model for many years. He didn't really need that money. He had the money, and whatever money he was making as a Patriot was just extra money in the family. Blah 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 blah. He was making endorsements. The dude was so rich even without huge contracts. People like that don't come all the time. I mean, I'd love to have a Tom Brady, but there was a reason why he didn't take large contracts and spread it amongst his team. He didn't need the money.
Tom Brady's retired. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys fried some cabrito, the GOAT, put him out of the playoffs. I mean, it's a new league right now. In case you haven't been paying attention, the valuations on teams are going up. There's multiple teams now in the double digits of billions worth, like the Cowboys, like the Giants. I want to believe like one of the other teams, I can't believe, maybe the Bucks or something like that are worth some billions. Yeah, I mean, these contracts are continually going up. I mean, we've been on record. Micah's supposed to be getting this record-breaking deal, but, I'll get back to Micah with my girl Kales at 3 p.m. because I know that's her boo, and she loves to talk to him. But we're talking about Tony Romo today. I was doing some research. Bob, I see you got Tony Romo and you got Dez. Throw it with the X, baby. The 88 behavior guy himself. Dez Bryant is the all-time touchdown leader for the Dallas Cowboys. Receptions, right?
Yep.
He's up for the Hall of Fame too as well, along with Jason Witten. And so here are the guys that are eligible this year. I mean, Tony's got to get thrown in there. Yeah, he's got to get thrown in there too now. He's been eligible since 2022. But the 3 Cowboys that are eligible this year are Sean Lee, Dez Bryant, and Jason Witten. And then obviously the one guy that should already be in the Hall of Fame, and that is Woody, the all-time leading tackler with 3 Super Bowl rings.
Let me ask the folks this that are in the comments section real quick. And this is just a curiosity thing. I'm not trying to make a point here. I genuinely want to know, does everybody in the comment section right now think that Tony Romo was as good in his position as Dez Bryant was in his?
That's a good question.
Just answer yes or no. Answer yes or no. Because if you think about it, you can ask someone, hey, do you think Dez needs to be in the Hall of Fame? And they'll be like, yeah. Well, what about Romo? I don't think so. Well, why not? Because you don't get one without the other in any way, shape, or form. So that's a weird little thing that we got going. Yeah. I know, and I've heard fans say that. That's why I asked that question.
We got some numbers. We're going to peel it back. But if you only knew without Dez, there's no Tony. Without Tony, there is no Dez. Because when I began to peel this relationship back there behind you, did you know that Tony Romo threw Dez Bryant 54 of his 73 touchdowns while he was a Dallas Cowboy?
Wow.
54 of 73 touchdowns from Tony Romo to Dez Bryant. I loved it because I was playing fantasy football. Either I would stream Tony Romo one week, but I was always looking for Dez because Dez was always in the red zone. Now, we've often heard that Jason Witten was Tony Romo's Jason Witten was Tony Romo's safety blanket, which he was. He always was checking down to him, running him under the flat. You know, he's not throwing Witten long bombs or anything like that, but he's hitting Dez in that red zone. So between Witten and Dez, I mean, think about that. 54 of 73 touchdowns that Dez Bryant has as the all-time reception leaders, Tony has thrown to him. So really, is Tony really a stat monster like that? So I went even further and I peeled it back because, you know, everybody loves to compare Tony Romo to Dak Prescott. Well, take a look at these numbers here. What if I told you there's a good chance Dak vaults to number one this upcoming season? This is the current yardage passing per quarterback. Dak Prescott, 31,000. Troy Aikman, 1,000. You know that guy that was on the Netflix show with all them rings. And then Romo.
These are 34 less games right now so far, too, which is crazy to see that. That's pretty
if Dak
crazy,
throws for like 3,500 yards this season, he catapults to the number one quarterback with the most yards in Cowboys history. And, you know, I believe Dak Prescott won't get into the Hall of Fame either because he sits in the same scenario as Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Tony Romo's not getting into the Hall of Fame. Why? He's got all those stats, but no rings. Yeah. And even though, you know, getting back to the original point, I find it funny. Everybody's talking about Dez and Jason, and now Sean Lee has entered the chat. But what about Woody? I mean, if anybody's going to get in the Hall of Fame before Dez Bryant, it's going to have to be Woody. I mean, take a look at Woody's numbers right here. I mean, what is going on with the Hall of Fame and the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, there's something real weird going on with Woody. Woody was not only a good player, but he was a mean player too when he needed to be, and an absolute good dude. I don't really understand what's going on, but again, I really truly believe, and I know that people think I'm a conspiracy theorist when I say this, but I think Jerry just pissed so many big names off in the NFL throughout his lifetime that anybody who was associated during that time or even closely with him, especially the ring time, it's just too hard for anybody to be like, yeah, let the guy in, dude. You know, let's give him the respect because it's all attached to Jerry, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of bad taste in people's mouths because of our owner. And that might be one of them because Woody is one of the best. Absolutely one of the best.
I mean, and three-time champion. So it's not like a Tony Romo argument. Well, Tony will never get in because he don't have a ring. Well, all-time leading tackler, three-time Super Bowl. I mean, come on. Debbie's tapping in with a little spiciness. Says Tony was also why Dez was let go. I might be willing to believe you, but elaborate just a little bit more on that because I've got my theory on why I think Dez was let go. Appreciate you tapping in today, Debbie. Top's in the building. Says, good day, family. Just running around town today. Okay, Top. We see you always checking in with them reps. James Boyce says it's politics. Yeah, it's politics per usual with the Hall of Fame. What up, Ray Sean? We see you tapping in. Rick Carroll says it's a conspiracy. Yeah, maybe against Woody. I mean, it was a conspiracy against my guy, the original 88, which took 33 years. But I don't know, what is Woody at, 30 years now or something like that? It's got to be around the 3-decade year on why. And Kels is tapping in, says, I know a plethora of players that need to be in the Hall of Fame before Tony. I agree. Darren, I mean, it's just one example that I wanted to be able to draw here today. Because for folks saying that, you know, when Dak passes up this record of Tony Romo and Troy Aikman this season, I mean, it's going to be a lot of Romo sapiens really mad. They're going to be really in their feelings. And I know you know who I'm talking about, these Romo sapiens out there that won't give Dak Prescott his respect. But look, he throws for 3,500 yards this year. It's going to be some Romo sapiens going to have to put some respect on Dak's name. You can't say he garbage timed his way to the top because we also heard that too, right? I mean, did Tony Romo garbage time his way up the ladder?
If he does it this year, he would have done it in like somewhere around 18 to 19 less games than Tony Romo did. Because right now he's pretty much at like, it's about, I think there's like a 30 or 28, 30 game difference between them. And if he's going to be playing, 18, hopefully 17 all year, that's pretty crazy that he's doing it in less time than Romo did, man.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. 54 touchdowns from Tony to Dez, so they kind of are coexisting. They got to be coexisting because when you talk about Hall of Fame for either of them, Dez is, his big argument is all-time touchdown reception leader. I mean, that's over the playmaker. That's over Bullet Bob Hayes. Those aren't some old knockoff names. Dez has a lot of touchdowns. I actually thought when we brought Jason Witten back after we let him go and he went to the Raiders or something and came back or tried TV out, I thought that Jason Witten, because I think Jason Witten's at 71, if I'm not mistaken. I thought Jason and Tony were going to break that record with Dez, but that didn't happen. And then, we sent off Dez to, or Jason Witten off to Las Vegas. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this today because not a lot of people are realizing Tony Romo's been eligible since 2024 or 2022 rather. And, we got five Cowboys eligible technically, but I don't think Tony Romo ever makes it. And I don't believe Dak Prescott is ever going to make it. And that's why I'm saying this year in year 10, I mean, he can go and break the record and do all of that. He's going to look good on paper. Him and Tony Romo are going to be sitting outside the Hall of Fame. But if he can get us to an NFC championship game and win some meaningful playoff games this season and maybe get to that big dance, it might just line up just right, especially with the Netflix coming in. I don't know if you were to write a story and I was the writer, trying to put the plot together. That seems how let's start with the Netflix and we'll go through the season. I mean, Playmakers already came out and said we go 12-5, but we're going to take it week to week and kind of getting back to this Micah Parsons scenario. Yeah, Jerry Jones's biggest regret, not getting Witten or Romo to the Super Bowl. It might be Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott 2.0 for the biggest regret, especially if Jerry doesn't get him on the field week 1, Bob.
Yeah, that's already going to be a problem, man. Again, like I said in the green room, 2 weeks ago, it was a problem because even if they signed him 2 weeks ago, that's still not enough time to be prepared to play against the offense he's going to have to play against. And even at this point, if we sign him the night before the game, he's going to be only in there for a limited amount of snaps. And that sucks. That already sucks. So that's something I personally knew, but I don't feel like I needed to harp on for weeks. But no one started talking about that at all. Nobody at all has been saying how this BS is affecting the game that we're about to play in front of everybody because it is the kickoff game of the year. Everyone will be watching this game, and that it's going to be just another one of those things we're going to have to deal with on Friday if some stupid shit happens, man. And I'm just, let me tell you, man, after the end of last year, I think all of us, I know I unplugged hardcore, but I think a lot of us were like, look, if something doesn't really happen in this offseason, I'm going to start getting real pissed off at Jerry and the Dallas Cowboys. And I've got hardcore fans telling me that. I got fly-by-night fans telling me the same shit. So as soon as we got Pickens, I felt this ease off of my back. Like, oh, look, we made a good move. All right, cool. Now let's just coast into this offseason and into training camp without nothing popping off and just roll into it and be real quiet and be underdogs and go into the season and surprise the shit out of everybody. But no. Now there's got to be all this attention weeks before leading up to a game that we're probably not going to win simply because we won't have 100% Micah Parsons 100% of the time. It's fucking infuriating, man.
Yeah, shout out to Demetri Jackson tapping in. He says, Coach said he will play against them. Damn. Well, he did. And he's not going to come out and say, well, I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to show up. Fuck no, he ain't fitting to play because I caught his ass, talked to him on Sunday about laying down during the preseason game. I mean, come on now. We got to have a little sense here. We know that the establishment ain't just going to come out and show us their hand, which brings up a good segue when we talk about quarterbacks, because did you hear what the latest news on Dak Prescott he had to say about this offense, Bob?
No.
Yeah, Dak was actually interviewed yesterday. I got a little clip here. We're going to get to it.
Is that is that when he said something about being vanilla in preseason?
Yeah, let's just go ahead.
Thank you. Play it.
Let's go ahead and listen to Dak Prescott. I mean, why else do we show the media our hand, play all of our starters, tell everybody when the injured folks are coming back and when we're going to do all of our business? Why? Because it's vanilla. Just listen to Dak.
Not playing in the preseason, and Schottenheimer's talked a lot about keeping it kind of vanilla with what he's shown on offense and that. What should Cowboys fans expect to see from this offense this year?
Yeah, an exciting offense. We've kept it vanilla for a reason. So excited about getting out there and putting it all on display next Thursday.
Thank you. That is such a big tell right there. Again, he had to, if you notice, he had to say it in sort of like a tongue-in-cheek way, like everybody's supposed to know that already, but everybody for some reason does not know that shit.
Yeah, you seen him he's look at it like a reporter, like the fuck? Like, you know that. Like, why are you asking me them dumbass questions?
Of course, we're just handing it off on 3rd and 13. Of course, we're not going to show you what the hell we're supposed to do and any of this stuff. no game planning is going to be helpful against us this year until week 4, 5, 6, when people start looking at it. Even then, hopefully we can switch it up.
Yeah. Shout out to Jay Nichols, Green Badge. Oh, he's double timing over there on YouTube. I see you, Jim Rat of the Month over there competing. He says, I feel like if Diggs or Parsons plays against Philly, there's a good chance of injury because they're not revved up for game action, which, yeah, we just recently heard the news. You know, Trayvon Diggs has been practicing. He says he feels good out there, but it's not football shape. I mean, he's already started a little bit faster than Micah. Hopefully, maybe Micah might get out there, but I don't know. Micah wasn't even spotted, I think, at practice today. So, you know, there's already been reports about Trayvon coming out saying that, you know, he's went through practice. He feels good. But I'm concerned, too, because a lot of folks are saying, including my girl Kels, she didn't think that, you know, maybe Trayvon should come back until week 3 or 4. And especially with Micah, like, if we can get through, I'm at this point right here, Bob. If we can get through Thursday Night Football without any injuries, I'm going to be happy. Win or loss, if we can just get through without any injuries, because the amount of pressure on Micah coming back with no reps and getting activated the day of the game, and also Diggs coming off of that. And I think that was more of a push with Diggs to try to prove to the front office, like, look, yeah, so what? I went out and worked out in Florida, but I'm in shape and I'm ready to go. You know,
yeah.
So we'll see more about that, but we'll talk more about that here in about an hour or so, because the 53-man rosters are dropping today, Bob, and Deuce is not on the roster.
I mean, we had to go weeks ago, man, and I think you asked me who's going to be the running backs, and I said Williams, Malik, Blue, Maffa. Actually, you know what? I don't think I had Maffa in there. I was thinking that we'd only keep 5, so I had our fullback in there too, Hunter, and those are who I said. So I figured everybody else is going to get cut, including Maffa. But that's not the case. I don't think he's hurt.
Yeah, no. Maffa looks good, because I was tracking the ESPN depth chart last night. It went blank for a little bit, then it just had a couple of lines on there. But if you look, now that Deuce Vaughn has been relieved, if you just look at the running back lineups, which these are going to all probably change in the next, 2 hours or so. But a telltale right there is, Deuce Vaughn was running back 4. Now Phil Maffa is there.
Yeah.
So a little bit of update, even though they still got Trayshawn Holt in there, so it's not totally accurate, but those things are updated. We'll be live back over here at 3 p.m. to discuss those new activations and figuring out who. Say it again.
When you asked weeks and weeks ago what the lineup was going to be, I said Williams, Sanders, and Blue with Hunter Lipke in there. That was it just made sense. It's just from a standpoint of looking at hierarchy, if I'm being honest.
Well,
but
apparently we're carrying one fullback, and Hunter will make it, and it looks like we're going to carry 4 fullbacks. So with that being said, I think it's Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue. I had Deuce Vaughn on there, but I don't think he makes it now. Now I think it's going to be Phil Maffa on this 53-man roster. So if you've been tracking with us here on the running backs, let us know who the running backs are that you may think make this 53-man roster today. But I wanted to come in and tap in to talk about Tony Romo. We're 9 days away today, and remind everybody, Tony Romo not going to get in the Hall of Fame, and neither is Dak Prescott, unless Dak Prescott can carry this team to a ring this season, because, that would solidify Dak's run as probably the best quarterback in Cowboys history with 1 ring, Bob.
Let me tell you,
can you imagine that? Going from the guy that led the interceptions in the league to being the interception clown to the greatest quarterback in Cowboys history.
There's still a lot of jokes attached to all that fact as well. But going back, the things that quantify Tony Romo are not the things that are going to get him into the Hall of Fame. The things that I started noticing about Tony after about a year of spitting on him, because he just smiled. My problem was that he smiled too much. He didn't look like he was tough enough. It didn't seem like he was taking shit too seriously as much as because that's when I was probably at my most hardcore as a fan, if I'm being honest. So that was really my problem, not his. Regardless, I was learned, taught really well over the next couple of years that dude is actually one of the toughest competitors I've ever seen on our team, and did more to sacrifice himself to win just games. That's not to say he wouldn't do that in a championship game, but every single game Romo was in, that dude gave so much. And that's how he won me over. His toughness, him busting his back and them trying to come back as fast as possible and just do better. Those are all the things that qualify and quantify him, but they'll never get in the Hall of Fame because of those things, man.
Yeah, Jerry Nichols, Jay tapping back in. He says, if Prescott gets us a ring, he will do a total 180 on the perspective from the fans. Maybe a few, but I know most Cowboy fans won't give him his respect because they'll just say some dumb shit like, oh, he should have did it in 5 years. He could have done it in 5 years, not 10 years. But anyway, in other news, I had to dig in the crates because I was looking, there's been a lot of dirt thrown around on Micah's name, his agent right now. And, we've said this here before. Jerry pays his guys. Like we've admitted this before. Jerry's paid Dak. He's paid CD. He paid Ezekiel Elliott. He paid Zach Martin. He paid all those guys. Why would he not pay Micah Parsons? So I had to dig in the crates and find some quotable for Micah Parsons. Just tap in. This is the hope that I try to send Cowboy fans that hope he gets traded or hope that he doesn't play or get hurt or whatever. Listen to him. Dig into his faith.
I actually went to chapel yesterday, and the chapel man said, you have to go through tests to get to your testimony. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, like we're going through all these injuries, and he was going on about it. So sometimes you got to go through some stuff to get to where you want to go. And right now, we're still going through the storm. But, as we're going through the storm, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's where we're heading.
Light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I'm telling you. He paid Dak. He paid CD. It's just a matter of when, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Shout out to my guy Eric Serrato, big time Green Bay supporter of Build Different Group. Also with the Cowboys fan out there, he made a prediction that maybe tonight around 6:30, the news will break. So as the rosters are going in right now, so in about 30 minutes, all rosters are due from all 32 teams to the NFL Network or NFL headquarters. And then at 3:30 p.m. here on the West Coast, at 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast, there'll be a live conference with Schottenheimer from the Star. And so I'm assuming that roster will be updated, and maybe those questions are going to point towards Shotty. And who knows, Bob? Maybe we might get some breaking news at 3:30 that Micah comes up and Jerry comes up and they kiss and make up and bring up Micah's mom and Micah's dad and his brother and the whole family, all the kids, and they kiss and make up and say, here's your extension. Now let's go get them Eagles.
Listen, don't ever forget, folks, okay? This is the head coach. Jerry just does this real quick. And then he says what he's got to say as a head coach, all right? That's just all it is. We're just lucky this year we got one that actually talks like he actually knows what he's talking about, as opposed to McCarthy, who feels like every day he woke up, he just realized he's a football coach. So it's really good to hear somebody actually say some intelligent stuff and actually not say too much, because, again, the media is going to try bait you into saying stuff you didn't want to say as a coach, and definitely as a Dallas Cowboys head coach. He's really good. He's composed. I'm just hoping all that stuff translates onto the field, if I'm being honest. I just want to see something different.
You and I both. Kelly, continuing to drop some intels on there. How about that? I'm hearing Mozzie's going to make the cut. Look at that. Perrion Winfrey cut in order for Mozzie? In favor of Mozzie? Ooh, it's going to be a lot of folks, a lot of Michigan fans going to be happy, but it's a lot of Mozzie haters out there going to be upset that he's going to make it. I figured they were going to give him at least one more chance under this new coaching organization, because a lot of folks were, quite frankly, in the comments earlier talking about, well, I don't understand why they release why did they release Trayshawn Holden, right? As the wide receiver game has changed. Well, if you know anything about this team and you know the way that the draft whisperer, Will McClay and Jerry Jones draft, they believe in taking care of their draft picks. Now, we probably held on to Deuce Vaughn a year longer than we should have, but he was let go finally at the end of the tunnel. But I don't see them, going and letting the Tolbert guy go or a Flournoy guy, one of these guys that they've drafted, because the Cowboys believe in building through the draft. I mean, the Cowboys have had probably some of the best draft classes come through in terms of, Dak is like the only standing quarterback that was drafted in 2016 still playing in the league, right?
And Dallas also tends to use these next few days as ways to really get cheap free agents if we're looking to fill some positions too, because all the people that are about to get cut, those dudes are going to go somewhere. Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are. That's just because they didn't fit statistically. They're going to fit somewhere else. It's just the way that goes. So there's still a chance we pick up somebody else and move somebody out. So there's, the fact that we've got these positions moving around, Mozzie being moved around, Winfrey staying and going, whatever. These positions are probably a little bit bigger in depth, so we can move people out in order to get other people to come in when we sign free agents. So there's a chance that happens too.
Well, I guess he was let go and they signed him right back. So there's a typo. Winfrey says Kale says Winfrey is back. So just that quick is happening. So
We missed
make
you.
sure and turn on your notifications. She'll be back live here with me at 3 p.m. I'm expecting this shoddy conference call to go down, and we're going to learn about this roster. Hopefully we'll see it updated on the official Cowboys website, so that way everybody knows, at least from a fantasy perspective, what collective of running backs there are for the Cowboys. And then obviously the wide receivers. We're going to look at some of the depth that makes the cut. There's some folks being let go, some folks being traded. So make sure you turn on your notifications. Yeah, it was all about Tony Romo today. And it's not to bash Tony Romo. It's just to let everybody know and remind he's still eligible for the Hall of Fame this year. He's been eligible since 2022. But if any of these 5 Cowboys get into the Hall of Fame, Bob, who would you put your finger on making the Hall of Fame?
Jason Witten.
Jason Witten. I got my guy Woody. I'm still on that Woody train. I'm hoping Woody finally. I think after this, there's some other exclusion or something that comes after if he gets skipped around this round or something like that. I don't know. Hall of Fame experts tap in and let us know.
The senior,
but yeah,
becomes a senior availability.
There you go. Yeah. So he got Witten. I got Witten, classy guy. Yeah, Witten definitely a top 10 tight end in the league. But again, no rings. And again, we've got a lot of Cowboys, and Darren Woodson is just one that we shared with today that is the all-time leader, and he is also a 3-time Super Bowl champion, not in the Hall of Fame. So we understand that the Hall of Fame got problems with the Cowboys, but just know Dak Prescott might throw for 3,500 yards this season, and then we were having that conversation if he gets to an NFC Championship game. If he can succeed Tony Romo in playoff wins, right? I don't know. Do you think that if he can get to an NFC Championship game, does that help Dak's cause for the Hall of Fame a little bit more than Tony Romo?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
But clearly, if he goes and gets us a ring, it's a done deal. I mean, Dak could be possibly talked as the best all-time quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and we're 9 days away. And we wanted to tap in with y'all just to share that with you. So I appreciate you tapping in with me always, Bob. At last minute, I got this back-to-back show with Kels coming on. Looking at this 53-man roster, we are in the gym. So make sure you got a green badge on Build Different Group. Make sure you raise the bar and share this today as we talk about Tony Romo. And let us know down there below. Do you think Tony Romo is going to get into the Hall of Fame? He's been eligible since 2024. But Bob's got J-Dub, and I got my guy Woody. We'll have to see in January when those results come out. So turn on your notifications. We'll see you in the gym on the next episode.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night, the party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.